Hello, and welcome back to Iron Butterfly Podcast. My name is Megan Jaffer.
And I'm Katie Hopkins, and we'll be your hosts.
We created Iron Butterfly Podcast in honor of Eloise Page, the original Iron Butterfly. And on this very special season, we are going inside our first documentary feature film titled The Power We Hold: Stories from Women Spies. This film features 10 of the most powerful women you've never heard of, and this season, we'll get up close and personal with each of them. We hope you find their stories as powerful as we do.
Hi, I'm Lynn Chassain, Chief Marketing and Product Officer at Black Sky, and I'm so excited to be with the Iron Butterfly team today. Really happy to share that Black Sky is sponsoring today's episode. Black Sky is a leading space-based intelligence company who really focuses on solving customer problems every day through our geospatial imagery and analytics, as well as our advanced AI platforms. I joined the national security space about 20 years ago, which is crazy, and it was a total fluke. I worked in a totally different industry around television and entertainment, and then got this crazy opportunity to join a Lockheed Martin JV that was forming. So I spent the better part of a decade launching rockets from exploration to national security and some commercial. And what I saw was I had this real passion around national security type missions. So fast forward 10 years into working at ULA, one of my customers hired me. And that was really my first step into true national security and geospatial, working for a really large national security company. After being there for about 5 years, I decided that I wanted to work for a smaller company that could move faster and innovate just differently. So 3 years ago, I joined the Black Sky team as the head of marketing. And in the past 3 years, my roles evolved significantly. Now I have the pleasure of leading our international sales team, BD, as well as our product management team. And what that's allowed me to do is using my experience that I've had throughout the space, throughout my time, to really focus on solving customer problems, not just selling them products. So I get the great privilege of working with customers every single day on their defense and intelligence challenges and how we can really help them support their missions. I'm excited to introduce Sue Gordon. And if you don't know Sue Gordon, you're in for a real treat. Sue is one of the nation's most respected intelligence leader and a total force in vision, strategy, technology, and leadership. As the former Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence, she was the nation's second highest ranking career intelligence officer, with more than 3 decades of service in the CIA and NGA, tackling everything from geopolitics and cyber to AI and space. Today, Sue advises global leaders and companies and sits on multiple boards, to include mine at Black Sky, and brings sharp insight, humble wisdom, and relentless hope to the world's toughest problems. And she is someone that I'm lucky enough to call a mentor and friend. Sue, welcome to Iron Butterfly.
We'll come back to that.
We will. So we are here in Austin, Texas, with I'm just thinking of a unicorn and how you would describe a unicorn and add that descriptor to Sue Gordon.
Oh, I like that. How do you feel about being called a unicorn?
I feel so desperately average. Then it's true, you know that. But it's also lovely.
Well, unicorns can't see their horns. They don't know that they're special.
There, yeah, nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Thanks.
So I think we might have mentioned this on a prior podcast, but if we have not, I think it's worth saying that we have a documentary about 10 women in the intelligence community. And we had some focus groups look at that documentary before it was finished. And every single person came back and said, I want to know more about these women. And, it's a 70-minute, movie. You can only fit so much into 70 minutes with 10 women. And we've had you all on the podcast before. However, it was when we first started, and we didn't have visual, we didn't have a studio, and we just knew that we had to re-interview you guys, you fabulous women, and we needed to do a deep dive of who you were, because the people are asking. They are.
The people want to know.
The people want to know.
I want to know about all these women. Right? Same
honestly,
thing.
Who doesn't?
Right?
I mean, we've known Carmen. Carmen is the only one we've recorded besides you. We've known her for a decade plus. And I learned a million things about her that I didn't know.
I know.
In her recording.
And so
What is so awesome about that is she is just the most authentic, the least apologetic person. So having known her for a long time, you would almost think you would have to have known everything. And to learn more makes you wonder what you still don't know, and you kind of want to know, right?
She like follows the little tunnels in her brain. Like if most of us have a thought and if we're like, oh, I'm not sure exactly how that fits in the conversation, we like self-censor it. She's like, well, I'm going to take you down this tunnel. I don't really know why we're in this tunnel, but we're going to go in it together, and it's amazing.
Well, when we were in Idaho, and we had the little small, and I can't remember what is still in the documentary or not, but I was part of a conversation, and Carmen was at the table, and I almost was. There was like a 3-second delay every time someone turned to me to say something, because I was so enthralled in what Carmen was saying. Right? It's so compelling.
Like layers of truth in
so
everything
compelling.
that she says.
Right.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
So I can see how that's true.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, it makes me wonder what we still don't know.
still don't know.
I know, right?
Carmen's
an iceberg.
Some more time.
Carmen, the iceberg. Medina.
Yeah, not an onion. Iceberg. I like that. I like that. I like that.
So here we are. We are in Austin. We are at the ATX Event Systems studio, which is super cool.
It is super cool.
And the guys are amazing. And they've lent us their space so that we can have a conversation with Sue Gordon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Shout out to Travis and Bo.
Yes.
Especially.
Especially.
And this beautiful house and property.
I know. I wish people could see it.
I know.
It's lovely. It's so Texas, right?
It is.
But thanks for coming. Thanks for coming to Texas.
Always.
I like that.
Always. So are you ready to, we always ask this question, but are you ready to jump in?
I am. You know, I'm an open book.
Yes.
How many times do you think Sue in this conversation is going to try to divert the conversation from herself?
Every time.
Maybe.
Every time.
Maybe. No, this is so much fun, right? Just so much fun. You all are lovely. And your quest has been so pure, and what you've created. And so that I get to be a part of it, awesome. That I get to talk to you too, what's a better day? Nothing better.
Well, that's how we feel.
100%.
So I'm going to kick it to you, but I think we also at some point are going to have to explain our hats.
Well, we'll
leave that in there.
We should start there.
Should we?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a Dookie. That's what I have to say about that. Like, who wouldn't want a Duke hat?
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, so can I start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Can
reason...
I start in a podcast about you? Yes.
I'm the third kid of a naval officer. We are who we began as. So I'm in the middle of, well, I either made a dramatic hair choice or I'm in the middle of cancer treatment, and it's the latter. And so I'm one of those lucky people that loses all her hair. So I had no hair, and so my friends decided that rather than making me choose of looking weird, why is Sue wearing a hat indoors, or looking weirder, why does Sue look like this, they came in with hats. And so that's why we all have hats on, is to protect Sue, which is just one of the most tender things.
It's also, I feel like it's a celebration of you. That's how I felt.
I love it.
When I was thinking about it, I thought, it's a celebration of you.
Yeah, that's what I would typically think of. Everyone wants to celebrate. So, I was just thinking about just how kind it was.
Well,
yeah.
I think we look super cute.
Well, I was going to say, and your hats are good. So should we keep hats on or should we take hats off?
I'm keeping mine on.
I'm keeping mine on as well.
I'm going to keep mine on until my head starts sweating so much that I have to take it off. It's one of those things. I will say that my hairdresser was right. I do not have an oddly misshapen head, and that is helpful when this happens to you. So we can talk about cancer if we want to at some point.
Okay.
Well, we're going to start from the beginning, which is where we usually start.
I love that.
You mentioned you're the third kid of a naval officer. I think our viewers, listeners, fans are all wondering where you started. Like, take us back to the beginning, when you were growing up, where you grew up, your family, and some of those formative things that shaped the amazing Sue Gordon that we all know and love.
And what it was like being a third child of a naval officer.
Wow. So what a great, I should have been prepared for this. I had a great childhood. I've had the best life. Like, you all know this, I say it all the time, I'm the luckiest human. In the podcast, I've talked about that I've had a career I had no right to, but I don't know where somewhere I've had this amazing life I had no right to. So, my mom and dad were both from Knoxville, Tennessee. Mom was from Tennessee. Her mom and dad didn't graduate. Seventh grade was the highest grade that they finished up. Dad's family moved there from Denver, and before that, California, because my dad's father was an engineer who had gone to Cal Berkeley. He met my grandmother at the Phi Beta Kappa initiation. He was chief design engineer for the Hoover Dam, and then he came to Tennessee to be the chief design engineer for the Tennessee Valley Authority when they were damming the Tennessee River. Wow. So, mom, one side of the tracks.
Yeah.
Dad, the other side of the tracks. My father goes to the Naval Academy. In his freshman year, he comes, and his best friend set him up on a blind date with a 16-year-old girl, and that was my mom, and they dated ever since. And he married her right after he got out of the Naval Academy, and then they became this nuclear family who then had 3 kids. My older brother, Bob, and I don't know, we were Bob, Nan, and Sue, and then he was the oldest, and then 2 years later, my sister Nancy came, and then 2 years later, they had me. So I probably remember being 3 years old. If you were a Navy family in the 60s, you moved every year and a half. So I was born in Tennessee because Dad was on deployment. I moved to Boston. Then we moved to California, where Dad went to Stanford for a couple of years. He was besties with Jim Stockdale, the famous POW, and vice presidential candidate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a tidbit.
It is a little tidbit. I know. Then we moved to Jacksonville, Florida, then Charleston, South Carolina, then up to Washington, then out to Washington, where Dad put a ship in commission, then down to Long Beach, where, by then I'm in 5th or 6th grade. Dad is driving Marines over to Vietnam. My fondest memory of being in California was when he would come home, they would have Navy night at Disneyland, right, where all the tickets were e-ticket rides. Because, when I was a little kid, you had the A tickets for the Dumbo, right, but everything was an e-ticket ride, so I remember that. Then we came back to Washington, moved to Puerto Rico, moved back to high school, and all those were before I was in high school.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now me, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved going to new places, meeting new people, learning new things. I felt like it was just like the life of Riley.
Yeah.
I don't think my brother and sisters thought it was quite so good, but we were like the threesome. So many memories growing up. Like my mom was like, you can have a half hour of TV a week. On weekdays. But if you pool your half hours, you can have an hour. And so we always watch Star Trek.
Oh, really?
I know. You wouldn't kind of put me for a Trekkie, would you?
No, and I'm surprised but not shocked that you guys thought, let's pool our hours.
Yes. Solid negotiation.
Yeah, solid negotiation. Anyway, I don't know. It was the best. I just couldn't believe it. And interestingly, by the time I went to college, I ran into people that I'd known at different parts of my life.
Wow.
Sports were really big for me, whether it was playing pickup, anything with the neighborhood kids, or I think I probably met my first best friend, Kathy Vance. I can still remember her name because we moved to California and she was kind of the queen of the playground at Foursquare. And so I jumped in and then we had this great competition and we became besties. And I mean, so many good things about my growing up.
What was it like to be raised by a naval officer? Like, what was the ethos that you grew up with?
Great question.
Super high, I'm just going to say straight-laced, right? Just, there's a way you behave. My dad went from being a Lieutenant JG when I was born to being a Rear Admiral by the time I got out of high school. So we spent a lot of time being the CO's kid or the Admiral's kid or something like that. And so there's just an expectation we would go on ships. And so, pretty.
Well, I'm sure you guys hosted too, like
We
hosted
did.
people at your house.
We did.
So there was like, this is how you act.
They're just ways. And then mom didn't work at a job outside. And how could she?
Yeah.
She was moving us all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a full-time job, basically.
Totally. A huge Red Cross volunteer. You're just taking me back to just thinking about so many little things that my parents did to create an ethos and a family and a sense of who we were and shared responsibility, that you're supposed to do your best, that you're supposed to give something to the cause, you're supposed to work hard. I think that's what ours was. In retrospect, what was funny is my dad was never home. Like he just wasn't. What he did was his career. My amazing mother, who, remember, she's a small town Southern girl. I don't think she could drive when she got married to my dad. She moved us all the time. Dad was never there. He was always going ahead to the ship. Mom did that, and Mom just created this sense that we were all together, even though, in retrospect, I'm like, he was gone all the time. And so I just have this incredible affection for my mom's strength. And whether some of my childhood was a myth created by her, it was so indistinguishable from what was true that we grew up with all of that belief in family and each other. So I think that's just like, it certainly put in me a sense of service. I wanted to go to the Naval Academy so very badly. I thought it was the right place for me, and it opened up to women in 1976 when I was getting out of high school, so I thought that would be perfect. And my dad said, he said, no, you shouldn't go because, you'd be taking a spot from a man that's going to have command, and women are never going to have command. And you're looking at me like, Sue Gordon, how could you believe that? But remember, I just told you who I was. I was this.
Of course.
It's a person, so I didn't go. And
wow.
I know, right? I think it would have been great, but I also think life unfolds as it ought. And I ended up going to Duke, and that, I wouldn't have met Jimmy, I wouldn't have played basketball. I mean, just so many good things happened because of that. But so imagine my delight when my daughter ended up going to the Naval Academy. Ha ha ha.
Generational vindication.
I know, totally generational. Yeah.
So we're going to get to Duke next, but when you were in high school, were you playing basketball in high school?
I played everything in basketball.
Okay.
So women of my generation, if you played everything.
Okay.
Right, so.
Including Foursquare.
Foursquare. I was not very good at tetherball, which was apparently the national sport of California. Playgrounds in 19.
Must have been really hard for you.
I don't know. There's something about that ball swinging and hit. I was not very good at it.
Kind of a violent sport.
It is.
I got a lot of rope burns from tetherball.
Were you good at it?
No.
No, you see what I mean? Yeah, and so you have this, person coming in from out of town, and they played this tetherball thing. We went to Foursquare because I could hit that hard. So I played one of each. Loved everything. How many? Probably 12, 13 high school letters in various sports. I could play one of each. My family all played tennis. And I'll describe everything you need to know about my family in us playing tennis. My dad, really wonderful athlete, really beautiful tennis player, played tennis, shot rifle at the Naval Academy, just a beautiful tennis player. Mom never an athlete, but Dad liked playing tennis on the weekends. And she's like, I never see this man. So at 35, she learns how to play tennis.
Oh my God.
I know. And she like turned into a
really good tennis player.
A really serviceable women's tennis player. But more, think about that. I mean, I was just so in awe of her, I don't know, taking that on late.
Yeah.
Then my brother, superior athlete, just amazing. So angry at any imperfection that he just would be playing this great game. And then he'd decide that he missed a shot that he shouldn't have, and then he just lose it. Then he just lose his mind.
Yeah.
And then my sister, gorgeous tennis player, ended up playing at Mary Washington. Oh. But didn't have the anger my brother did, but if some stroke weren't perfect, she would just decide that she was worthless and her game would fall apart. And then there's Sue. Now, what kind of player do you think Sue is?
You were just having fun.
I don't know that I was having fun. I might be the most competitive person in the world.
She was good.
No, but
never...
if the ball hits off the frame of my racket and if it goes over, score, right?
Yeah.
Nancy would be like, well, I feel bad about myself because it wasn't a perfect shot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
I love that.
I know, it was great. So that's my family ethos. But I could play one of each. I was okay at sports.
So did you only apply to Duke, or did you apply to a few schools?
Actually decided on Duke when my brother was applying to colleges, and the Duke brochure came in the mail.
Oh. So you knew that.
I did. I think I applied to Cornell and Vanderbilt and UNC as well. I did a visit to UNC at Duke. I went to UNC first. It was lovely, and I was really proud of getting in because it's really hard to get into UNC out of state. And then I stepped on the Duke campus, and it was just
It
was perfection. I love Duke.
Okay, so tell us about freshman Sue at Duke. Walks in to her first class.
I can see freshman Sue walking onto the campus for the first time. 2 years before, we had left Nancy at Mary Washington, and it was a whole day event because Nancy that wasn't her first choice. She didn't want to be there. We drive down to Duke with freshman Sue. I have on white painter's pants that I had embroidered, put a little orange and yellow embroidery on the pockets. Royal blue polo shirt. My hair was pretty white blonde and puka shells.
Puka shells.
Puka shells and Stan Smith tennis shoes. Oh, maybe I had on topsiders. Yeah, because I was a preppy by the time I finished high school.
Oh my gosh.
So that's me walking in. I'm so excited. Like my parents are like, oh, it's going to be okay. I'm like, we're running in, finding the dorm. I have the best damn dorm on West Campus. I had 2 roommates. One of my roommates was the daughter of Enos Slaughter, and for anyone who's watching, Enos Slaughter is a storied Hall of Fame baseball player who played for the St. Louis Cardinals. And so all the NGA people should know who Enos Slaughter is. But Enos Slaughter's daughter was one of my freshman roommates. I have 2 freshman roommates. It was in a quad on Duke campus. I'm like, okay, we moved in. Thanks, love you.
Really, see you
love
later.
you, see ya.
See you later.
Love you, see ya. And then, I don't know, I just went to the first mixer, and then I found a bunch of people, and we went out and played pickup basketball, and then I went to classes, and I don't know, I kind of the same person I am now, just like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I get to do this. A couple of great things happened. I decided I was going to be a biology major. I just love life sciences because kind of the mystery of life stuff. I mean, it's just like you don't know.
Yeah.
You just don't know. And so there's the scientific method, and it's kind of got that strength to it, but I don't know. We might figure out that something else is different. I just love that about it. At Duke, when you take freshman biology, there were 2 teachers. One who really focused on kind of the animal taxonomy thing, like phylum, genus, species, and one that was talking about the mystery of life. And I didn't choose, I just lucked into the mystery of life guy. And it kind of just transported me to want to really explore kind of how how life works and how things function. So that was one big thing, and that just kind of took me in a direction. And then the other thing was, even though my high school coach told me I wasn't good enough to play basketball in college, I decided to try it anyway, because I don't know, why not?
So that was my question, is if you went in already having a spot or you tried out.
Oh,
so
no.
you tried out.
I tried out.
Wow.
I tried out.
That's awesome.
I know, and I made it.
Yeah.
Which was even more amazing. I was probably better at softball, but Duke didn't have softball at the time.
Wow.
I was okay at soccer, but Duke didn't have soccer at the time. I wasn't nearly good enough at tennis. So I tried out for the basketball team. We didn't even play on the West Campus where Cameron is. We played over on the East Campus in what was called the girls' gym for my freshman year.
Wow.
Just crazy. I remember those players. We were 2-12. We were truly awful. Our uniforms were truly awful. But then Duke hired a new coach the next year. And she brought in like 5 scholarship players, and we thought, we're on our way, and we changed our schedule. We're now playing the big teams. We were 1-19 my sophomore year.
Oh.
I know.
So
But
you played all 4 years?
I did play all 4 years. I was the captain for 3 years.
Of course.
No.
Walk-on turned captain.
Of course.
No, it's worse than you know. No, it's the not very good player who in her sophomore year was the captain of the team but didn't even ever play enough quarters in order to earn a letter. So I'm 3-time captain, 2-time letter.
Okay. You know what I'm thinking?
No.
Rudy.
Okay, well,
you do.
No, you're better than Rudy. Okay. Wow. Rudy's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
It is her favorite movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so funny. So, sophomore year, so being captain was, I think it's because we had a 24-year-old coach.
Oh.
I know.
Wow.
Well, like Pat Summitt started coaching at Tennessee when she was 22. I mean, it was just really common that just these were the years that women's sports were
Starting.
starting. And big universities decided they had to get into the game, even though it had been the Delta States and Immaculatus. So I was kind of the calming, the coach would say, you talk to them, because we were that awful. And so I became, I know, the person who's getting no playing time. And there's no better picture than this. My sophomore year, we weren't very good, but we were now playing much better teams. We played Clemson, and we lost by 50. We played Maryland in our own gym and lost by 70. And the coach made them run wind sprints afterwards because she didn't think they had worked hard enough in the game, which I thought was rude, and I got her back later. And then we go to NC State, which was the best team. NC State that had some really remarkable players on it, including Kay and Faye Young. Kay, I think, married Bill Cowher, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, these people I played with became somebody. But we lost by 82.
Oh, my God.
And I remember sitting there with 3 minutes left to go in the game. I didn't think we were going to score in that game. 3 minutes left to go in the game. I'm sitting on the bench, and Debbie, the coach, looked back at those of us who were still sitting on the bench. She said, "You all go in," and we all went, we didn't do that. Like, no.
We're not putting.
So I wasn't even good enough to get in an 82-point loss before 3 minutes left in the game, and I was still captain of the team.
But,
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I know, you have to go.
All I
many
want to say, I don't
questions.
have any questions. All I have to say is the beginning, not even the beginning, because I'm sure it was in high school too, but if you are thinking about Sue's leadership beginnings, the fact that the coach was telling you to go talk to your players. I mean, there you have it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, go ahead. Sorry, I just said that.
No, my question was going to be, so when the coach says, Sue, go talk to them.
And you know she didn't say,
82.
Sue, go talk to them. You now know that she said, Fuzzy, go talk to them.
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Yeah,
We
'cause,
do.
yeah.
We do, yes. So when she says, Fuzzy, go talk to them, what is your locker room speech? Like when you're standing there and everyone's just like dejected, just like face in their hands.
82.
Like, oh my God, we're never coming back from this. I think we've all had a moment in our life where we feel that. So like, what are you saying to everyone in that moment?
So I think that year my message was we're building something else. Like, I know this is as good as we are, but we'll be better tomorrow. So just keep moving through.
I love it.
I mean, what are you going to do? I don't think you can't pull punches. We were just not very good. But the funny thing was, each year, as the team got better and more recruits came in, Debbie would call me in at the end of the season. She said, I'm not going to be able to offer you a spot next year. Oh. And then I'm like, okay. And then someone wouldn't pan out and she'd call me and I'd say, sure, I'll play.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Each year, I think that's probably, I know I wear you all out when I say, do you want to be righteous or right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where you get the idea. I mean, I could have gotten all indignant.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play. And so, I never started a game except my senior game. And, but you cannot distinguish my experience from the girls on my team who still hold records, who are legends of the ACC, still, now almost 50 years later, my best friends. We still have WhatsApp groups. We still all get together and watch Duke women's basketball now and and complain about what bad rebounders they are, as though we were somehow better. And so I can see the reality of my career, my basketball career. I think. Well, I found out I was actually like a 76% free throw shooter. Yeah, I was
that's
like,
a good stat.
Yeah, I was like 8 of 12, like over my whole career, right? So I can't make myself be a better player, but I can't imagine having a better experience. So that's kind of my
takeaway.
Yeah, is that if you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah.
And there are stars, but everyone has a space that they occupy, a role that they play. And value is not equivalent to performance.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
So you mentioned that you spent a lot of time playing pickup basketball.
Yeah, I did.
And I know there was one pickup basketball game in particular that was very consequential for you.
It was the best. I had, so this will probably surprise everyone. I'm pretty much of a nerd. And I love playing sports. And so, but I did join a sorority. At Duke, sororities were not residential, so it was like just a group of
club.
Yeah, it was a club, a group of friends, which was just wonderful. And for the record, I never voted down on anybody. Who could ever say you can't be a part of my club? Everyone can be a part of my club. But my sophomore year, I had one of my best friends, Betsy Buss, who decided I was living a pathetic life, and that all I she did. Well, not a big partier, never had any dates, and all I did was study and play basketball. And she just didn't think that this was, that I was just had the full
experience.
I was not having the full experience. So Betsy decided, Betsy was dating this great guy, Rich West, who was a SIGEP, and Betsy decided that she was going to set up a pickup basketball game with 9 of Rich and 8 of his fraternity brothers and me. She set this up, and she even went so far, because this is how sad she thought I was. She had identified a couple of guys that she thought. And told them, hey.
Like The Bachelorette.
Oh, totally like The Bachelorette.
I mean, it's brilliant.
The Duke Bachelorette.
The Duke Bachelorette.
Totally. And I don't know if Kevin Sack is ever going to see this video, but one of the guys she had kind of targeted for me was a guy named Kevin Sack and he is a New York Times Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter who just wrote the most amazing book about the tragedy at Mother Emanuel Church down in Charleston, South Carolina.
Wow.
And it's so crazy to read that book and like, oh my God, I went to college with him. Just so crazy. So life is small. So I went out there on this rainy day to meet up with these 9 guys, and damn, dude, there was me.
So you knew, okay, hold on.
Settle back.
Did you know at this point that you were
This was
the
point.
Oh, no. Betsy told me that no. There's something about me that lets people mock me to my face or tell me what they think I need to know. She's like, Sue, you're living a pathetic life. I have decided that you're hopeless without help, and so I have set up a pickup basketball game for you. I'm going to save you with these guys. And I can see it. I walked into Clock Tower Quad, and there were these. It wasn't even like Betsy me. It was like she was afraid she'd distract from, like she didn't want to make me look bad, so she would just have me be the only girl there. And unfortunately, there were only 8 guys with me, so we only have 9 now. And so her boyfriend calls over to this guy sitting on the SIGEP bench and goes, hey, Beeve. I don't know why they'd called it Beeve. Hey, Beeve, you want to play? And this guy comes bounding across. He's a swimmer, not a basketball player, but so cute. Cutest smile ever, bounding across. And he joined us, and we went over and played, and he was truly terrible. And/or he kept on screwing up the switch-offs, and he was always on me. Anyway, he called me that night. We dated ever since. So I learned how to think at Duke. I met my best friends at Duke, and I found love at Duke. So I'm kind of grateful to the school.
Tell us about your first date with Jim.
With Jimmy? Oh, my gosh. So stupid. Okay, so Betsy continues to be a force in our lives.
Betsy. I love it.
Betsy. And so Betsy had given Jim advice on the first date. And so Jim decides to take me out beer bowling. I don't drink.
Betsy.
I don't. Okay, there's some other plan unfolding in the background that becomes apparent later in life. So he takes me out beer with Rich and Betsy, so beer bowling is if you roll a spare, if you mark in a frame, you have to chug a beer. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not a terrible bowler either, but I don't drink, and so Jim's drinking every time I have to drink because he's incredibly chivalrous, or he really likes beer. It's so hard to tell.
Could be both.
So that was our first date. Mm-hmm. We had a moment of decision where he had invited another woman from another school to be his date at a SIGEP formal. And I said, well, of course you have to keep the date. What am I thinking? He was so cute. And he's like, well, I guess I'll do it. And it was awful for him. And so we really decided from that point on we wouldn't do anything else. So our first date was beer bowling.
He learned.
He did. Second date was not with me. The rest of the dates were. At 4 months, it was spring break. And there were a bunch of us, Betsy and Rich, Dick and Leslie, Schmitty, and I can't remember his girl, Terry. And we all went down to Key West.
Oh.
Camping, because we're poor.
Yeah, but still.
I know, so we drive down. And when Sue gets down there, did we talk about my upbringing? Did I say it was straight-laced? Mm-hmm. So we get to the campsite. I didn't realize that the 4 couples had 4 tents.
Oh.
So I'm like...
Betsy, I'm sleeping with you.
Well, so then Jim took all the tents and got 2 big tents, and so we slept boys and girls.
Aww.
I know. He was going to give me his pen while we were down at Key West on a sunset, but he didn't have enough money to buy it, so we did that later. But I mean, it was idyllic. He was the best. So smart.
Did he ever call you Fuzzy?
No. Oh my God.
Yeah, I wondered that.
Not a chance.
Okay.
Not a chance. No way. Yeah, only my teammates called me Fuzzy, mm-hmm. and then people associated with the book. No. It was kismet. I don't. Jim is brilliant, and works no harder than he needed to work. Mm. And so he was a swimmer who was super good, beautiful swimmer, and both my children swim just like him. It was so much fun to watch my children because it was just like watching their dad. But in his junior year, he decided he was going to stop going to morning practices for the swim team. Then in his senior year, he's a year older than me, he decided he was going to stop going to afternoon practices, and the swim coach decided that was probably too much for him to still be on the team.
Too far.
Yeah, so he changed over to inner tube water polo intramurals, and he started running the clock for the women's basketball team.
Oh,
I know, right? I know. Jim.
Every time you want to be mad at him, you can't.
You can't. So he's running the clock. Oh, this is so fun to think about, Jimmy. He's running the clock. We're playing a doubleheader with the men's basketball team. No one came to women's basketball games in 1979 and 80. But except when there's a doubleheader with the men's team. And then the stands would be packed with people playing backgammon. And so they wouldn't be watching the game either. It was really horrifying. Jim's keeping the clock. Now, Jim is only precise when he needs to be. So when he was keeping the clock, if I happened to be on the floor, he would sometimes get distracted and he would forget to start or stop the clock on time. And so he had experiences where he didn't stop the clock on time. And so the crowd that was not watching the basketball game could hear the clock going, fuck, 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 and the clock, and then he'd stop it. But then he'd want to make up the time so he wouldn't start it on time, and he'd do it. If I ever got injured, he would stop the clock. He would hit the horn just because he could, even before
Oh my God.
I know.
That's
I wish there was video of this.
Of Jim being the scorekeeper at Duke Women's
Yes.
Basketball. And then, so Jim goes back to school later. We get married, and then he doesn't get into medical school because no one told him he was supposed to get good grades, not just be smart. He goes back to Duke to get a degree in engineering, but by now I've got a job at the CIA, earning $13,000 a year. And all I could make in Durham was either $7,800 as a bench lab worker at Burroughs Wellcome or $9,000 as a Durham cop. So I stay up in D.C. and he comes back to Duke to get a degree in engineering so he could get a job other than with his zoe degree and his anthro degree. And he continues to run the clock for the women's basketball team. So the girls who were freshmen with me got to be seniors with Jim.
Did he become better when you were not there for him to?
Oh, who knows? He was just too cute for anyone. I mean, how could you've met Jim. How could you ever be mad at that man?
It's true.
I mean, it's just stupid. So unapologetically who he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just hysterical, wonderful. Oh. I know, right?
Well, this was like a really great transition to kind of like leaving Duke. You get a job at CIA.
Yeah, I actually go to class, continue, even though I'm now dating this super cute guy. I still keep going to class, graduate to get a degree, and go to CIA.
So why did you decide? So you had a degree. I know for people who follow you and know who you are, know that you got a degree in zoology, which is wild when you think about where you went and what you became. But what made you decide you were going to go to CIA?
So
Besides the pay.
Besides the $13,000, which was the whopping paycheck.
Okay, so since we're now doing kind of the inside story of Sue Gordon, yes, my degree was in zoology, but it was in functional morphology, which is really how structure relates to function, and it was a really engineering version of living systems. And so lots of math, lots of science, lots of engineering. So it's fun to say zoology, and people go, oh, but there was a little bit of an academic background. I wanted to go get my PhD in biomechanics. Whether that was going to be, looking at dolphin skin or whether it's going to be working at the Olympic Training Center, I just thought that was going to be the bee's knees. I also had decided somehow that I wanted to go to law school. I think I just like arguing. Or I wanted to say, aha, I've run rings around you logically to some poor hapless witness. I mean, there's just something about that just entertained me.
You've been able to do that without a law degree.
I know, but that just entertained me, and I thought, well, if you don't know which one you want to do, you ought to just get a job, because you can learn how to think with a bachelor's, by not knowing what you want to do when you're an undergrad. But by the time you get a graduate degree, and so I thought, well, I'll get a job. So Dad was a naval officer. Naval officers run across other naval officers. One of the other naval officers that was became one of his closest colleagues during the Vietnam War, when Dad was part of Robert McNamara's systems analysis staff. The guy he worked with was Stan Turner. So Stan Turner became one of my dad's best friends, and they would play tennis together, and I would run across Stan Turner periodically. And Stan Turner had always told me I would be a good spy. And he had been the director of the CIA. And so I thought the CIA was hiring on campus. I thought, well, that's serving my country. So I applied for the CIA. I did. I don't like.
Spoiler.
I will. I know. It was so much easier in 1980 or 1979 and 80. Anyway, yeah, and they offered me a job doing analysis of Soviet biological warfare, which kind of makes sense with my Zo degree, right? Critters, and all that kind of stuff. I did have a chance to see the test. There's an aptitude test that they give you.
Yeah.
And I did get a chance to see the results of that. And the funniest is one of the things they had on the aptitude test was current events. And it had questions like, which South American country has recently had a coup, A, B, C, or D? And I wrote in E that said, which one hasn't? Because who knew? Anyway, so apparently...
Without a law degree, folks. Without a law degree.
So apparently I did okay on the rest of it, but way below average score on current events.
Really?
Yeah, but it was totally excused. It says, which is understandable in light of her Zo degree. And I thought, this is awesome. I'm being excused of being a citizen of the world because I majored in zoology.
That's incredible.
I know, right? Which is understandable in light of her degree in zoology.
Wow.
Well, what I'd love to do, because I think what people don't, they've known you in different positions, right? But I don't think they know the holistic career of Sue Gordon. So I'd love to kind of like hit the
main points.
Of like where you were and what you did and what that.
We can do it in 2 minutes.
Wow.
We don't have to do it in 2 minutes, but yeah, I think, people know, okay, yes, Sue was at CIA, she was at NGA, she had these senior positions, but they don't know the full career.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. The story I'm going to tell you led Ginny Rometty, the CEO of IBM, to say, how did that happen?
What?
I know, exactly, that makes sense. And I just have these wonderful parallel lives. So I'm going to tell you my work story. I will tell you simultaneously, I'm building a family with Jim. So, but I'll just tell you the work. So I was hired to do analysis of Soviet biological warfare in the summer of 1980. So I first started working, who was President Carter, for just a little bit more. When I arrived, they told me that job had been eliminated because 1980 was a lot like we have right now, where it's just trying to make the government smaller. And they gave me 30 days to find work. And so I went around the agency interviewing people. I mean, they helped me set up some interviews and stuff. I interviewed with what was called the CT program, which career trainee, to kind of take you into the human operations side. Horrifying. Just no way. I mean, this face. But more, and it kind of goes back to who we are. I was still so much of the kid that was the insular family that wouldn't sleep with a guy in a tent. And then I come there and I'm like, there's no way I could convince somebody to do what I would never imagine doing. Like, that was my view of human operations, that you were convincing someone to commit treason, which is not at all right, but that was my view. So I walked away from that, and I was kind of running out of options in the 30 days, and I came across this job in the Office of Scientific and Weapons Research, in what was the predecessor to the Director of Intelligence, the analytic piece. And they did first phase analysis of Soviet weapons. Just when I thought, well, I can do that. And they're like, you have a degree in zoology. I said, well, really, mechanical engineering is just applied zoology. They're like, what? No. And I said, well, like babies' knees, frictionless joints, all the really amazing systems are in living systems. And there's so many things we still can't replicate about this. And they're like, you're too dangerous to let out. And so I got that job. And seriously, it was nothing
Dangerous to let out.
or what a bullshitter. Either one. Both skills kind of have served me over the years. But what it really was, it was taking technical reports from the National Security Agency from their collections of Soviet missile and space launches and translating it into English. So how sexy is that? But, it was the space I owned, and for 6 months I was crushing it until I decided to go a bridge too far, and I decided I now knew something, and so I declared that one of the things I saw was a new weapon system. And because I did that late, it got into something that went down to the White House without any real review. And I came in on a Monday morning and got called up to the office director's office. And I was so excited because when you're a GS7, you think that being called to the boss's office is good news. It is not. When it's good news, they come see you. Anyway, and so he said, I don't know who you are and why you said this. You just said that there was a new weapon system that broke the START treaty. Yeah, I just wasn't smart enough to know. I mean, I was right. It was a new weapon system. I didn't realize the implications of what I said. So he suggested that I kind of buckle down and understand the broader context of my work. And so I went from that job into getting a job doing analysis of Soviet space systems, more on the anti-satellite side. Then I got a division chief that decided he didn't like women, particularly women that didn't have degrees in engineering. So when I was on TDY, he removed me from this very sexy, very high-profile position and put me in another division doing the lowest level work, which is analysis of telemetry of Soviet space systems, communication satellites, which you can get mad at, but turned out to change my career forever because I actually learned how to do something. Instead of being a good talker, and I'm a decent talker and a good analyst, I actually learned a craft, and you gotta learn some craft. So, he didn't do it for any good purpose, but it gave it to me. And so then I learned how to do technical analysis of space systems. I got good at it. And so when we went to build systems to collect from Soviet space systems, I got hired over into the director of engineering to build spacecraft, first of a kind spacecraft. And by the way, you should always do anything that has never been done before, if you get a chance. I did that for a while, and then I got asked to develop a new kind of in-place sensor that for the first time ever would return signals in real time. And I said, sure. And you should always do it when someone asks you. And I developed it and made a horrible mistake, but lived to tell about it because I had great bosses who were better at their jobs. And that allowed me to deliver something within their context. And that was fun. So I built sensors, I built spacecraft, and then I went back over and was given a chance to have my first branch and to lead a branch back in the Office of Scientific and Weapons Research. I loved that. I was a GS-13 with 15 GS-15s working for me, just kind of embraced what that would be like. I was terrible for the first 6 months because I didn't understand how to lead work rather than how to make all the work my own. And so it was awful to work for me for the first 6 months till I figured that out. I love that. It was the height of kind of the US-Soviet space race. I worked with Sally Ride on a presentation for Ronald Reagan in the sit room. That was one of the highlights of my young career. And then my boss asked me to go into information technology, and I went, gross, no. I don't want to do it. And he said, I really want you to. And so I learned how to say yes if someone asked you to. I did that, which changed the trajectory of my career because it was IT before it was, when it was wiring closets, not what we're doing now, but I got into that. I got a chance to be the executive assistant to the number 3 in the agency, which was impossible, but taught me how decisions really get made. And so I turned around from that, and they asked me to start an office on advanced analytic tools at just the right time. And then, I don't know, I did okay at that. Somehow I'd become the person you hired if you wanted something done, and a brand new director of science and technology, wanted to figure out how to get to Silicon Valley, and so said, figure it out, Sue. And so over 7 months, me and a tiny group of people came up with the idea that we convinced a group of private citizens to form what is now In-Q-Tel 26 years later, with Google Earth and Cloudera and Palantir all as pelts to that idea of the government has huge problems. If we will release some control and put the problems out there to emergent capabilities and fund them so they can stay alive long enough to deliver, you get amazing things. I think that if I were to write the In-Q-Tel story, I would say we have cybersecurity that we do today because the security requirements of the intelligence community were far more demanding than anyone else's. And when commercial capabilities met that, then everything else went from there. So that was, I mean, it was really all fun and games that I got to lead it. But think about what it meant about the agency at that time, right?
Yeah,
like it was still so big that it could say, the same people that thought of photo reconnaissance satellites were now saying, you know what, we can do things fast and bold again. And they recognized that they had the power to convene all these amazing people from the private sector who were willing to devote to it. So while I'm really proud of my role in the idea, what I'm more proud of is how big the CIA in 1998 was to imagine doing something like this.
Yeah.
And then the other path of my life of raising my family crept in, and so I decided I wasn't being as good as mom as I needed to be, so I left with 2 weeks' notice, spent 8 years off, finishing raising my children. They did pretty well in those 8 years, and when my younger went off to college, I looked around and I thought, I'm not done. So I saw the head of HR at the CIA in Wegmans, and I said, you guys hiring? And then what started is one of the most amazing second acts of all time, where I come back in. A woman who I had promoted, Stephanie O'Sullivan, was now the director of science and technology. She said, well, how would you like to be the director of special activities? So I came back in and got to get into the world of still technology, but technology for covert operations. So I started learning a lot more about human operations and the different risk side. That was a great job. And then she called me up one day and she said, how do you feel like about being the deputy director of Information Operations Center? And I said, do you want me to? And she said, I think I do. And I said, okay. And she said, are we going to talk about it? And I said, I think we just did. And so, so that was amazing. So now the girl that got the random chance to get into IT did advanced analytic tools, had learned about the private sector through In-Q-Tel. Now I get to be there in the moment of cyber operations when it really, again, was the heyday of exploiting the digital world. And so that was super fun. And it was essentially human operations affected through that. So that was great. And then there was minding my own business, and the phone rang and said, hey, how do you feel about being the director of support? I'm like, what? And so I became the director of support, which was one of the most magical. The director of support at the CIA is all the food, shelter, and clothing. It's finance, logistics, security, medical, everything that you can think of, HR. But what it really is, it's half the size of the organization that creates the quiet that lets mission happen. And so, I knew nothing about it, but it was the job I probably liked the most because it's like a culture of service within a culture of service.
Yeah.
And my contribution to them was to make them not derivative. And by that I mean, it's really easy to be support and say, what do you want? I'll do whatever you want. It's even better to say, I have a craft too. What are you trying to do? Here's my recommendation. So that was so fun. And then one morning the director said, hey, I'd like you to figure out cyber for the agency. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I don't know. And so I did how long was it? 90-day study, and we basically imagined what the CIA needed to be in a digital world, and it was awesome and scary, and so I had to be fired. Not really, but I had to be voted off the island because when you do a really crazy study, especially if it's liked, you kind of have to be out of the picture in order for it to be effective. So, that's when I got the chance to be the deputy
What is
director.
it that they didn't like about it?
Too transformative, change some of the power centers. You know, if you give me a task like that, I'm not going to give you 75 recommendations, all of which are fine and none of which are going to make a difference. I'm going to give you 6 recommendations and they're going to
Transferred.
Yeah. And he liked that, but lots of rice bowls involved. And credit to him that he kind of took it on and he figured out how to do it. I mean, it cost me a little bit.
Do you think he knew that it would, or do you think you knew that it would cost you that?
Oh, what a great question. When he first asked me to do it, I asked him if I was being fired. You know, because that's the classic way that you remove someone from a senior position. And I was annoying as a director of support, right? Because you know, you expect support to be what? Derivative.
Yeah. Supportive.
Right. No, but my view of support was, no, I can make us better. Like I think it served the organization well, but it was
different,
challenging.
Yeah.
I also think that especially in retrospect, there is a place and time for different kinds of leaders. I said that somewhere along the way, the agency figured out that I was the person that you hired if you wanted something done. But I'm a little noisy when you give me a job. And so if you want things smooth, you're not always going to just choose me because you could give me the job of sweeping the parking lot. And I would redesign the communication systems because I would look at the antennas, right? So there are downsides to me. I'm not sure I felt this while I was in it, but I think I can look at it and say, yeah, I think that's probably right. So I actually asked him at that point if I could get a discontinued service retirement because I figured, why don't I just, and he had his reasons, but he wouldn't give it to me. And I went over to see Robert Cardella at NGA that I thought I was just going over to talk to him about cyber. And in fact, he said, okay, I'm going to talk to you about being the deputy director. And I'm like, what is NGA? What is NGA? Where's the I in geospatial intelligence? Anyway, so I got the job at NGA and I told Jim, I said, oh, I think they're going to offer me the job at NGA. And he said, why? Because if you're at the CIA, you're thinking,
You're the coolest.
we're the pinnacle of all human existence.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't ready to leave the government or it seemed cool. One of the best things I did. I learned about intelligence in terms of combat support. Robert had this view of transformation, of basically succeeding in the open of all the things that were happening in commercial. So he was a really good leadership partner. And I think I was a good partner for him because I could take what he wanted to do and I could transform the technical underpinnings of the agency. So it was super fun. I learned how to talk about intelligence differently in the open. I wasn't just a CIA spy anymore. You know, it's like, oh, I can't tell you. And so now I could talk about it. And then I got the opportunity to be the principal deputy director of national intelligence. How did that happen?
Thank you for listening to a special episode of Iron Butterfly Podcast, which ventures inside the world of our documentary, The Power We Hold, Stories from Women Spies. We might be coming to a film festival near you. To follow along on our journey, follow us on YouTube or Instagram, or visit our website at www.ironbutterflymedia.com. And if you like the show, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Stay fierce, and we'll talk next time.